Hello guys, Chris, Nichols, Retirement Empire. Let's do an education blog today. It's such a nice day. Why not top it off by doing an education blog? Why teachers quit. Experts. Experts are why teachers quit. When I was a classroom teacher, which I did for 17 years, and as an administrator, and I may just be different than other people, I don't know, but I had a healthy distrust of experts. From what I saw of experts, they were not people that gained their expertise necessarily in the classroom. And most teachers that are veteran teachers, that have been in the classroom 10, 15 years, they don't like really to hear about how you need to be doing things from people that are experts but have not taught as long as they have. For example, I know of people that have been administrators, school administrators, district level administrators, that make decisions every day about how kids are taught in schools and what's important and how they need to be taught and what are the best practices and all this kind of thing, that taught 2, 3, 4 years. How would you like it if your superintendent of your school district had taught in the classroom 3 or 4 years and they've been an administrator for 20 or 30 years? That's a long time to be out of the classroom. And I can tell you from experience, the classroom that I walked into out of college in 1989 is a world away from the classroom that people walk into now. It's a whole different ballgame. The last 10 years, there have been so many changes in education and educational practices and the way that discipline is run on a district level and a school-wide level, in a classroom level, and the different practices on how to teach and the testing and all that. It is so different. It has changed so much the last 10 years. I have a hard time with administrators that have been out of the classroom 15, 20 years trying to go in there and tell a teacher who's been teaching 25 years what they need to be doing. I mean, it is hard. That is a hard sell to a veteran teacher. You taught 3 years and now you're gonna come in here and tell me what I need to. That's tough. Happens every day, all across the United States. The other group of experts you gotta watch are on the collegiate level, university level, national level, generally are not people that taught very long. And if they did teach, they taught a long time ago. What makes them experts by all this research and data that they've collected, amassed, and all the conclusions that they've arrived at by all this stuff, not because of any particular success that they've had in the classroom. They can just report on what has been successful. You know how we are in America. When the experts all agree, when all the leading experts agree, we latch onto that like crazy. And it's hard not to, because you like to think that they are experts for a reason and that what they say is a fact and it will work and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, it does not always work. I have a saying, today's expert is tomorrow's idiot. That's been proven over and over again. I'll give you a few examples. Experts tend to, when they all start getting called an expert, they start to believe that they really are an expert. They believe themselves. They get kind of in a box and can't think outside of that. And they all kind of repeat the same thing that the other experts say, that they're accepted by the other experts, which makes them even more of an expert. An example, when I was an assistant principal, we adopted something called a positive behavior program. And I did a little research on it, and I tweaked it to the way that I wanted to do it, and did it the way I wanted to do it. It worked great at our school. We reduced the amount of referrals. We, changed the focus on the kids that stayed in trouble all the time to focusing on the kids that did what they were supposed to all the time, and rewarding those kids and really paying attention to those kids. Really kind of changed the way a lot of us thought. Worked out great. I did not do it the way that it was prescribed by, the official program. I just did it the way I thought it would work at our school based on my experience, and it did. Then, after we cut our referrals in half 2 years in a row, the district decided that they were going to train, because it was a statewide initiative, and they were going to train, a certain number of schools every year and implement this initiative about positive behavior in all the schools in the district over time. Well, I've already done it. Not only did I do it, I did it successfully, very successfully. And you know what they told me? That I needed to go to all this training. I needed to put a team together so that our school could figure out how to do it. And I needed to go learn how to do what I had already done. Not only did I have to go learn to do what I had already successfully done, the people that were teaching me how to do what I had already successfully done had never done it themselves. None of them. Yeah, they were all state level administrators that had been principals and whatever, or had taught, if they had taught at all, before this program had even been developed. And they were teaching me how to do it. And then what was so crazy, I had to take this team of teachers in for us to learn how to do this. At that point, we had been doing it 3 years successfully. And they proceeded to teach us and tell us how it would take 3 years to even begin to implement it. I had implemented it in a week. And you know what? I was getting ready to retire, and I said, I'm gonna ask these guys, if I could work for them, because I've done this. So they had an opening, and I, put in an application. And on my application, I had all the data and all the information showing how I had successfully implemented, one of these programs. Considering the state had just started it, I was probably one of the only people in the whole state of Georgia that had actually physically done this. And they didn't even interview me because I'm not an expert. Another example, this is the one that gets me, and you'll have to excuse me on this one, but I was watching the impeachment hearing the other day. As boring as it was, because I'm into politics, I'm into history and political science and all that. That's what I taught. And they had all these experts that worked for the State Department and all this kind of stuff. And they were experts on the Ukraine. And they were going on and on about how vital the interest of the Ukraine is to the United States. And how that we needed to, spend all this money, and we needed to do this and we needed to do that. And it was of vital interest to the United States what happens to the Ukraine. And in my mind, every time they said the word Ukraine, what I heard was Vietnam. The interest of Vietnam is vitally important to the United States. The United States has to help Vietnam. The United States, the same kind of people that are the military and State Department experts and all these people that told us that we needed to be in Vietnam, the utmost interest of the United States foreign policy, that we become involved there. Those kind of people are the same kind of people that got us in that conflict and caused all those deaths. And today, Vietnam is a communist country, has been communist since we left it, was gonna be communist before we got. They had no idea what they were talking about, even though they were experts. And you have to be careful, because like I said, when you get to be an expert, you start to really believe what you say. The same kind of people that told President Kennedy that we needed to do the Bay of Pigs invasion. The same kind of people that were totally shocked and amazed that the Soviet Union fell. They had no earthly idea that the Soviet Union was about to fall. The experts, a lot of times, don't know a whole lot more than you do. Like when I was coaching football, I became, I had one kind of offense that I liked to run. And the more I learned about it, the more of an expert I became in that offense, the more closed-minded I came to believe, the more closed-minded I became toward other ways to score, other ways to run an offense, other ways to do things. I became so enamored with one particular offense and my knowledge of that one particular offense that I couldn't do anything else. So if you wanted an expert in one thing, that's what I became. Couldn't do anything. I mean, I could have done other things, but you know what I'm saying. I did myself a disservice for beginning to think that my way of doing things was the only way to do it. I was wrong. Now that I'm older, I realize that. But back then, you couldn't have told me, and most people couldn't tell all these educational experts or these, national security advisors and military experts and Department of State experts and CIA and FBI experts. You couldn't tell those people that they were wrong in a million years. And that's the way we are. And you know what? Most of the time, they're probably right because they're experts. But they're not, God. They're not infallible. They make mistakes. And when they make them, they make big ones. They make Afghanistan mistakes, Vietnam mistakes, weapons of mass destruction mistakes. They make huge mistakes. So, we like to have our experts, but I don't like experts. Not a big fan of experts. Definitely not a big fan of the educational experts that have never taught a class, a modern classroom. They have never dealt with modern students. They have never dealt with school systems the way they are run now and what it takes to teach today. Give me somebody that's been in a classroom 25 years and let's let them be the expert. If they have successfully taught for 25 years and their kids have learned, I'd rather listen to that person than somebody that's been a school administrator for 35 years. So, why teachers quit? Experts. Nichols Retirement Empire.